So President Biden has generally had a pretty difficult first, almost 2 years in office. He has, in many ways, had to careen from one crisis to the next, whether it's COVID or inflation or a baby formula shortage, Ukraine and Russia. It's been a number of things. In the last couple of weeks, the president has had a pretty remarkable stretch where a number of his priorities have come together. Congress is on the cusp of fully passing his signature economic agenda, this health, climate, and tax bill.
My message to Congress is this. This is the strongest bill you can pass to lower inflation, cut the deficit, reduce health care costs, tackle the climate crisis, and promote energy security. All the time while reducing the burdens facing working class and middle class families.
The administration also announced that they had successfully taken out al-Qaeda's top leader, Ayman al-Zawahiri, with a precision strike in Afghanistan. For the president, this was kind of vindication of his strategy in Afghanistan, which of course was heavily criticized last year because of the chaotic withdrawal. They passed a veterans health care bill, and they also passed a bipartisan CHIPS bill. There was also very strong job growth numbers. It's been a pretty remarkable stretch for just a couple of weeks. A big turnaround for President Biden was that he decided to take a hands-off approach to these various pieces of legislation and to basically let Congress legislate and do its things.
The public doesn't want me to be the president's senator. They want me to be the president and let senators be senators.
And that's a very different role for him because even when he was vice president to President Obama, he played a big role in helping Congress negotiate, but he decided to take a hands-off approach. And this seemed to be what helped bring the deal together. Senator Schumer, the majority leader for Democrats in the Senate, and Senator Manchin negotiated among themselves. Even in mid-July, when it looked like Senator Manchin said he was not going to support climate provisions and tax provisions in the bill, Republican senators thought that Senator Joe Manchin had walked away from the climate provisions of Democrats' domestic agenda. Republicans were livid.
In this particular case, it's not going to do much to help inflation.
This bill actually ought to be called the War on Seniors Act. We're in a recession. Why would you be increasing the cost of government, increasing taxes?
Democrats have already robbed American families once through inflation, and now their solution is to rob American families yet a second time.
There was a lot of frustration that this bill ended up coming together when several times it seemed like it was pretty much dead and it would be a much narrower healthcare bill. I don't think it's too late in terms of boosting momentum because if this had happened too early, it could have been forgotten by the time the midterms rolled around. The president and Democrats need to use this stretch they've had of getting these major pieces of legislation through Congress into longer-term momentum that helps them in November, rather than a sort of very good brief blip in August that voters forget about in the next few weeks. For President Biden, this was the biggest bill for him, this economic agenda, the health, climate, and tax bill. So yes, the clock is running out to get other major pieces of legislation done because Democrats also know they could lose control of the House and or the Senate in the midterms, and that could make getting their agenda done much more difficult, if not impossible.